Good evening. I'd like to call this meeting of the Pinetop-Lakeside Town Council to order. Welcome, everyone. We do have a quorum. I'd ask you to stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, and please remain standing for the invocation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Curtis?
Our Heavenly Father, we are grateful to come before Thee at the start of this town council meeting for the Pinetop-Lakeside community, that we can acknowledge Thy hand in our lives and the freedoms that we enjoy. We are so grateful to live in this beautiful mountain and for the wonderful moisture that we have continued to receive. We pray that if it be Thy will, we may continue to receive more. We ask Thee to bless this meeting, that it will be one of communication and understanding, and be able to work together for the community's best interest. We ask Thee to bless all those who serve on our town council and our mayor, and help them to be inspired as to what they can do to help our community be the best it possibly can. And these things we ask humbly in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you, Curtis. Item B on our agenda is call to the public. This is a business meeting of the town council. The town values and welcomes public input. Please address the council as a whole and not individual council members. Council action on items brought up in call to the public is limited by the open meeting law. Council may direct staff to study the matter and reschedule for further consideration at a later date. Items on the agenda will not be heard in call to the public, and individuals are limited to 3 minutes. Betsy Peck would like to address us tonight.
Good evening, Council and Mayor. I just wanted to personally invite all of you to attend a performance right here in the Town Council chambers on August 31st. We have a speaker coming up from the Valley who is a singer, songwriter, entertainer who has performed I found him through the Arizona Speaks Humanities Council, and he'll be doing a special performance about kind of Arizona history and the rural communities, the work songs of Arizona. If any of you are interested, there's more flyers in the back, but it's a free performance and it should be really exciting. So I hope you can all come. Thank you.
Thank you, Betsy. Thanks for bringing this to us. Item C is our consent agenda. All items listed are considered routine matters and will be enacted by one motion of the council. There will be no separate discussion unless a member of the council requests an item or items be removed. Council members may ask questions without removal of the items, and items removed are considered in their normal sequence as listed. The only item on our consent agenda is approval of our previous town council meeting. Is there any comment or question or motion? Councilor Buse?
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. All in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Thank you. That carries unanimously. Item D is business before the council. Public comment will be taken at the beginning of each agenda item after the subject has been announced by the mayor and explained by staff. Any citizen who wishes may speak one time for 5 minutes on each agenda item, either before or after council discussion. Questions from council members, however, may be directed to staff or a member of the audience at any time. Item D1 is a presentation and update from Tracks and the tour of the White Mountains mountain bike race. Nick Lund. Nick, before you come on up, but before you start, Councilor Snitzer has a few words.
Yeah, thanks. And thank you, Mayor. And Nick, we are eager to hear what you have to say, but we're also have something ourselves to say. Some milestones you just have to recognize. Nick recently passed his 80th birthday and going strong. And we have a little certificate the mayor will present to you, but I just wanted I feel funny talking about this because it's not over. We're just marking a milestone. We expect more. Nick's leadership of Tracks has helped create a 200-mile system of trails. It's one of the signature features of our community. It's enjoyed by thousands of people every year and will be enjoyed on into the future. It's an amazing thing. The second thing is, yeah, Nick, but Peggy's the one that really we know is the glue that holds it all together. So we thank you, but we really thank Peggy. Nick has been president of Tracks for, I've lost track of how many years, except for one brief period of time when we had another guy in there that was nowhere near as qualified as Nick. And thankfully, we got Nick back in there. I was the other guy. Nick has set an example for volunteering. He's active with the mountain bikers. He's active with all the non-motorized trail users. Tracks has, I believe, over 500 members now. Over 600 members. Wow. It's one of the very largest organizations of its type in the country. And it's amazing that in our small community, we have such a huge organization, and the volunteerism of the Tracks people are involved in everything in our community. They volunteer thousands and thousands of hours in our community. Nick himself has been an ambassador for the trail system all over the state, all over the country. He's put some things on the internet. One of them has had, last I saw, was over 90,000 views. Every day, yeah, okay. I'm giving you a speech for you. Yeah. I'll talk about the emergency locators too. Nick also was responsible for those. If you've used our trail, you know there are milestones along the trail every quarter mile, and it's for rescuing people that get lost on our trails or giving people the assurance that they can use our trails and know where they are just by referring to a map and look at the numbers. So we especially thank you, Nick, for all that you've done and keep doing it. Mayor, if you have a certificate.
I do. This is a certificate of recognition for your leadership of Tracks, and I'm going to come present that to you. And don't go away. I would like to invite Hoya Salwinski with Forest Service to come up after this.
That's what he does best.
Can you use the mic, Hoya? We have Facebook app on, so we'd like everybody to hear. Thank you, Hoya.
Hello, good evening. My name is Hoya Sawinski. I work for the Forest Service in the Lakeside Ranger District, and I am here to represent the Forest Service. I would like to acknowledge Nick's efforts, enduring efforts, to protect the resource through responsible recreation. We do have a certificate of appreciation. I'm just going to take 1 second to read it to you. Nick Lund, your efforts to enhance the White Mountain trail systems exemplify the essence of what it means to be the change you wish to see. Thank you for your selfless and continuous volunteering service. Thank you.
Is the person within the Lakeside Ranger that is the interface between the Forest Service and all the recreation that goes on. So with Tracks being responsible for the non-motorized trails, he's the boss.
Okay. Real quickly, before everybody runs off, I'd like to invite those members of Tracks to come on up here and let's get a picture of all those with Nick. Come on. You have a lot of your friends here in the audience tonight.
You know, you're going to get a brochure if you're not now.
That's right.
What will come up?
Wherever Nick wants the pictures, or we'll do it, and I'll hide.
Right on in time. Might need another round. Yeah, I got you.
For coming.
Okay,
Okay, your turn, Nick.
can I just hold this?
Yes, just please make sure you speak into it.
Okay. TRAX is the group that's authorized by the Forest Service to build and maintain the White Mountain Trail System. White Mountain Trail System is over 200 miles of non-motorized trails. There's a separate trail system for the motorized, for the ATVs. And this map, and there's copies of this map on the back, if anybody that doesn't have it, is a map that's unique in Arizona because it's a map of both the motorized and non-motorized trail system on one map. So I invite you to get one. If you don't have them already, it's a real special map that we got a huge grant to print, about 100,000 of them, I think. Okay. Am I supposed to face this way? Or?
Please.
Nope,
Okay.
you can take to anybody.
Jim mentioned that TRAX has a lot of notoriety. About 7-8 months ago, I volunteered to be a Google guide. And Google guides recommend locations. And one of the things that I first noticed when I was going on Google is they did not have the White Mountain Trail System on the Google Maps. So I recommended it. They took about 4 or 5 days, and then they said, "Oh, we really want this on there." Since that time, over 90,000 hits have been on the White Mountain Trail System, just to give you an indication of its popularity. We also give out, like these maps and a TRAX brochure. Over the past 4 years, we've given out over 70,000 of those. So it's a very popular trail system. It also was rated by Arizona State Parks and Trails as one of the premier trail systems in the state of Arizona. And that's really significant because there are lots of trail systems in the state. Jim mentioned the white diamonds. I need to go over that with you a little bit. Many years ago, I was talking to the head of the Navajo County Sheriff's Auxiliary, and I said, "What do you do when you get a call out on the trail system?" He said, "Oh, Nick," he said, "it's a huge problem because by the time people identify that they're in trouble, they usually don't remember the name of the trail they're on." And he said, with a 200-mile trail system, I have to send out multiple officers, and it takes literally hours just to find where the people are. So we got a grant from Arizona Game and Fish to put up white reflective trail marker diamonds. They're about this big. And the ones that are on the trail system every quarter mile have a simple code on them that people can remember when they're traumatized, like the Country Club Trail would be C1, C2, C3, C4. We recorded the GPS coordinates. I went around and met with all the regional emergency responders in this region, the Pinetop-Lakeside Fire Department, the police department, the folks that fly the helicopters out of the hospital, etc., and got them to put it in their computer system so it's available in the responding officers' trucks immediately. So they know when somebody calls, they notify the dispatch, "I'm in trouble," and usually the dispatch will say, are you still mobile? Can you still hike? Or are you what kind of trouble are you in? And most of the time it's just somebody that sprained an ankle or something like that. But they tell them the code of that diamond, and so they know exactly where they are. Since we completed that project, all the rescues have been 45 minutes or less with one responding officer. So it not only helps the people that are in trouble, it helps our emergency response system tremendously. When Casey Clark was the sheriff, Navajo County. He cornered me one time and said, "You can't believe how much time that has saved our emergency responders for what Trax has done." Okay, an update on what's going on. All our major trails are built as loops with connector trails in between, so people can go short or very, very long excursions. I wrote a grant about 8 or 9 months ago to Arizona State Parks and Trails. It's been funded. And we're waiting right now for the approval. The last approval in the whole sequence is the State Historic Preservation Office, SHPO. The Forest Service has already gone through the process, and they've recommended there are 43 places where we have gates in fence lines in the trail system. Well, you can imagine that creates some problems sometimes, because if somebody goes through the gate and they forget to close it, then the person that's running cattle out there will usually call the Forest Service or me, and you get chewed out really well. You know, my cattle are out, they're not supposed to be, et cetera, et cetera. And so what we did was, this grant is to put up what's called a ramp gate. And I think it's in your packets. Okay. The ramp gates are made right here in Arizona. There are 2 firms in Arizona that make these, but the one we selected had a little bit better price on this. You can see where the woman is walking across this gate. It's a 6 foot long, basically a curved cattle guard. And so the cows won't go on this thing, and your hikers and your mountain bikers can ride or walk across these gates, so they don't have to open and close the existing gate. They're installed right next to the existing gates. There's 43 locations of this in our trail system. So a lot of fencing out in the forest, a lot of cattle grazing. The man that owns Epic Rides, that puts on our annual mountain bike event up here, I sent the information to him just to give him an update on here's what we're going to try to do, because we want to try to have these installed once the grant's approved finally. We're going to try to put them on the trails that are most used for the Tour of the White Mountains. He gave me some information that I didn't know about. I hadn't thought about it. These gates enable the assistant, what am I trying to say? The challenged athlete. The person that might be on a special bike or a special equipment to be out in the forest, then they don't have to get off what they're doing to try to open and close the gate. So it's not just an improvement for our regular hikers and mountain bikers. It's an improvement for those that are physically challenged. So that's one of the things that's going on. We're waiting on the State Historic Preservation Office to finalize that grant, and then we'll start putting those gates in. It's a lot of effort, by the way. Okay, one other grant that recently was written is for a shortcut route on the Blue Ridge Trail. Blue Ridge is probably almost spitting distance from right where we are right now, because it's a very popular trail. It's a 9.5-mile loop trail. And a lot of our users have said, we really would like to have a shortcut opportunity on this trail system, because you have that on the Los Burros Trail, the Land of Pioneers Trail, et cetera. We really want that option so that I don't have to go the whole 9.5 miles. I can go a shorter distance. So we have GPSed a potential route that has been sent to the Forest Service, and they have to approve it before we can actually do anything with that. But that's another $45,000 for the trail system. Okay, a couple other quick items. In high schools in Arizona, the most rapidly growing sport is mountain biking. which we think is great to get the youngsters out there and involved in a non-competitive sport. They also do have an organization called NICA, National Intercollegiate Athletic Association, something like that, that they want a mountain course for their mountain bikers. And when they have a statewide event, it's usually 750 to 1,000 riders, plus all the folks that they bring with them, like their parents, all their relatives, all their friends, etc. So Glenn and Julie had their grandkids in one of these events, and Julie sent us a picture of like 750 of them, all in their garb and ready to rock and roll at an event over in Flagstaff. Well, where else could they have an event? It's here. And so Matt is working to try to develop a trail system for those NICA events, statewide events, in Mountain Meadow. And we think that is a tremendous opportunity for this region. You can imagine the economic benefit of 1,000 mountain bikers of younger age that are going to come and go to the trail system. And then I'll wind up here with a tour of the White Mountains. 28 years ago, our hospital started a mountain bike event, and it grew in popularity really quick. So the hospital said, we're not in the mountain bike business, we're in the hospital business. So they turned the management over to Epic Rides, and Epic does the management of the Whiskey Off-Road in Prescott that now has over 2,000 riders. The 24-hour, it's the largest 24-hour ride in the United States down by Oracle, etc. Well, last year for our tour of the White Mountains, there were 1,200 registered riders. And this year, they're anticipating 1,500 registered riders. And the riders can choose rides of 9, 35, or 50 miles on our trail system, or a 30-mile forest road ride. So it's a big event. It's a big economic impact. It's clean industry. We talk about how to grow things, businesses here on the mountain. Epic Rides' approach to this, when they give the rider briefing, the president of Epic Rides will say, if we catch you littering in the forest, we're going to disqualify you. So they're serious about it. And when they have the event in Oracle, they go over the entire course out there, a 16-mile course, and they pick up everything. So the desert's more pristine than when they first found it. So we hope that you'll continue to support the White Mountain Trail System. We think it's one of the best things since sliced bread, as you can tell with all my friends here. So I'll stop there, and any questions?
Thank you, Nick. Any questions from the council? Do you need, does Epic Rides needs additional volunteers? I know Trax is always very involved in that. But is there opportunity for other community members to volunteer?
Yes. Usually for the Tour of the White Mountains, there's about 140 volunteers. We help pin flag the routes, we serve at the aid stations, we serve at the turns in the forest, etc. And usually Trax supplies about 80 to 85% of the volunteers that are needed. But if you want to volunteer, just get in touch with me. You can go on the Trax website and send me an email. And we're glad to have you out there. It's a fun event. The energy level is sky high, and it's a lot of fun. It starts at the Pinetop-Lake Equestrian Center on Buck Springs Road, and they go out immediately from that point, and then they make a big loop out in the forest and come back, and they have the finish line there as well. I think somebody's going to be doing the beer sales there. Yeah. So it's a fun community event. We really wish there was some way that we could actually start it in town, but crossing White Mountain Highway with that number of riders would probably make more people angry than happy. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Nick, very much. We appreciate it. Happy birthday. Thank you. We'll move on then to item D2 on our agenda, which is the recognition of Guy Willis and Linda Walker for their support to the Pinetop-Lakeside Police Department during fiscal year 21-22. Chief Barnes.
Mayor, council, and staff, I'd like to take this time to acknowledge two of our retired employees from the police department who graciously answered the call to come back and assist us during a period of time when we had some gaps in our staffing at the police department. Those two individuals are Guy Willis and Linda Walker. As many of you know, we have a lot of processes and steps and things that we do at the police department, and if we have those gaps with employment, it's hard to manage all those. But they came in and they helped us get through a hard time with staffing. They helped train our incoming folks that we hired to replace those positions, and I can't thank them enough. So I'm gonna read each of these certificates of appreciation and a Chiefs of Police commendation to each, and have them each come up and get a photograph real quick. So. Okay. This certificate is for Guy Willis for his outstanding commitment and devotion to the department, August 2021 through March of 2022. Okay, this one's for Linda Walker for her outstanding commitment and devotion to the department, March 2022 through May of 2022. Come on up, Linda.
Chief, and thank you, Linda and Guy. We all appreciate you.
Thank you.
We'll move on then to item D3. Consider resolution number 22-1631, declaring and adopting the results of the primary election held on August 2nd, 2022. Mackenzie.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. What we have for you tonight
Hang on a
is
second, Mackenzie. We'll wait for them to go out. Okay, go ahead. Now
Okay.
we can hear you.
what we have for you tonight is to declare and adopt the results of the primary election held on August 2nd. As required by Arizona Revised Statute 16-642, the attached resolution and official election report from Navajo County reflects the results of the town's primary election held on August 2nd. There were 2,680 registered voters and 1,298 ballots cast, which is a voter turnout of 48.43%. There were 1,207 votes cast for mayor, 548 for Jennifer Brimhall, 655 votes for Stephanie Irwin, and 4 write-ins. Stephanie Irwin received 54% of the votes. There were 2,101 votes cast for the 4-year term, 702 votes for Sterling Buse, 704 votes for James Brimhall, 658 votes for Tabor Heisler, and 37 write-ins. All candidates received the necessary amount of votes to fill the seats. There were 1,089 votes cast for the 2-year term, 453 votes for Norris Dodd, 243 votes for Timothy Kinslick, 387 votes for Lynn Crickbaum, and 6 write-ins. None of the candidates received the necessary majority of votes. Norris Dodd and Lynn Crickbaum will be on the general election ballot to determine who will fill the 2-year seat.
Thank you, Mackenzie. Are there any questions or comments from the council or a motion? Yes, please. Councilor Snitzer.
Okay, hang on a second. I move to adopt resolution number 22-1631, declaring and adopting the results of the primary election held on August 2nd, 2022.
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 1631. Is there further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Thank you. That passes unanimously. We'll move on then to item D4, which is a public hearing, and consider approval of resolution number 22-1632 and ordinance number 22-450, amending Town Code Chapter 12.12, Town Parks. Matt.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Tonight before you is some more cleaning up that we are doing with our Town Parks Chapter 12 too. Currently, you've asked us to get new signs at Woodland Park and Mountain Meadow Park, and we were working on that when we stumbled across the park hours. That's a whole paragraph. And so we have changed the park hours to match more in line with what's actually happening out there to 5 a.m. till 10 p.m. As you guys see in the packet, it talks about from November 1st through March 31st, and it goes on and on about how sunset and stuff. So we're trying to remove that. And then we just cleaned up some other little things that were in there that we think we needed to resolve. Prime example is during the events, it's always said that there was no camping allowed in the parks, which we stick to. But there are some times that we need to be able to approve that because we have vendors staying with their stuff. And so we, in the next, it's section 4, or number 4, it says town will allow overnight parking for special events with a town permit approved by the department. So that'll be by our Public Works Department, so that we can do that with special events to allow that to be okay. So mostly just cleaning up and changing it from Parks and Rec to Public Works. There's a few of those in there too as well. So.
Okay. Thank you, Matt. Any questions? Councilor Buse.
Just one question. I heard you say 5 a.m. to 7 p.m., but it actually states 10 p.m. in here, right?
Sorry, did I say that wrong? I apologize.
Maybe I missed it, but
Probably did.
Okay, anything else? One thing I would like to see added to this section of our code at some point in time, we've been in conversations with the Disc Golf Organization, who wants some significant improvements that kind of go outside the scope of what we want at Woodland Park, which is more keeping it natural without landscaping and things like that. And I know we've allowed a little bit more leeway at Mountain Meadows. I think we need to really put that in our code so that it's really clear to folks what is allowed and what's not allowed, and maybe even including something about improvements with written approval of Public Works Director, Town Council, Town Manager, something along those lines. So I would really like to see us add that into our parks codes. That way we'd have it just real firm.
I would agree with that. So I think what we'll do is we'll go back and look at those and bring back a new updated town code that could add those things in.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments from the council? This is a public hearing. If any member of the public wishes to address us, now is your opportunity. Okay, seeing none, the public hearing is closed. Council, what are your thoughts on this motion? Councilor Buse?
it sounds like maybe we want to hold off and get rewritten a little bit before
I think we need to do this now because they want to get the signs put in. And so if the signs need our code needs to be, and they all need to match.
Unless you guys want it to say that on our entry signs, I don't think we want to say all that. But no, I think let's go ahead and pass this, and then let me work on what you've asked for, Mayor. I think that you got some good points there, and I think I really need to massage how that's going to fit in our code. So that'll give me a little time to work with that, and then we'll get past the sign issue that I'm dealing with right now.
I'll give you a motion if you
Thank you, Councilor Buse.
I move to adopt resolution number 22-1632 and ordinance number 22-450, amending Town Code Chapter 12.12 Town Parks as proposed in the attached document.
Thank you. Second.
Lynn wants to second.
Councilor Krigbaum, thank you.
I second it.
It's been moved and seconded to approve this resolution. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Thank you. That carries unanimously. Thank you, Matt. Appreciate your work on this. And Melina, I knew that. Item D5 is reports from council committee liaisons and the town manager. Let's start tonight with Councilor Krigbaum.
I would like to report that Save Our Park just had a meeting. It was inconclusive on what we're going to do about the 10 acres. So we're in discussions. That's all I have to report.
Thank you, Councilor Buse.
So the museum is having their annual fundraiser on August 27th at the Lakeside Fire Department. That'll be a milk can dinner fundraiser, and I believe there are tickets for sale here, right? And they'll start serving at 4:00. Let's see. As far as the school, Blue Ridge School started on the 2nd, so school is underway. As far as upcoming events, they'll have a sex education hearing committee at 4:15 on August 23rd, just before their school board meeting, which follows at 5. They are down about 75 to 100 students from last year. They, based on probably the fact that they've discontinued any bus service to White River at this time. So any students from out of district have to provide their own transportation. The first home football game is this Friday, and that's here home against Payson. Also, multiple school projects underway, a new gym roof, and multiple AC units. They're also planning for a thorough safety evaluation district-wide, and that will include some unannounced active shooter drills at all the schools with the help of our police department and first responders. These will be unannounced drills. However, the parents will receive a message about 5 minutes before the drills actually start to hope reduce any anxiety or concerns there. But that safety evaluation will go over a 3-day period. Let's see, started with a new curriculum all the way K through 12, and that's going well. There was a change in last year due to COVID. All school lunches were free to every student, and it's now gone back the way it was. Lunches are free of charge for students that qualify for those. So that's all I have to report.
Thank you. Councilor Watson?
I don't have anything for this evening.
Councilor Schnitzer?
Well, we're kind of settling into the summer routine. I guess Tracks is, in addition to our normal trail work, we're especially working on the trails that are going to be used by the Tour of the White Mountains. With all the rain, it's a mixed blessing. We've had a lot of erosion on the trails. So we love the rain, but we struggle to maintain the trails. The Rainbow Lake group is continuing to meet. Don't have a lot of progress, but we're at least sharing information. And then the Nature Center, as Nick mentioned, Nature Center has volunteers serving beer at the Tour of the White Mountains. So that's a fundraiser for us. And the bird show is going on every day at 3 o'clock, and we are routinely having between 10 and 30 people show up every day just to watch the show. So it's if you haven't been, you should go and bring kids and bring everybody. And we haven't had anybody yet that went away disappointed, I don't believe. So things are going okay at the Nature Center, and we're looking forward to our annual dinner in mid-September. It's Hawaiian luau. It's going to be a really great time, and so tickets are available at the Nature Center, and they're $50 per person. And we believe it would be well worth it. We're going to have a roast pig and entertainment and just a good time and a very different event for this town.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Snitzer. I just have a couple of reminders. Happy Tales Auction is Saturday, August 27th at the Orchard. That's always a good event, lots of fun and a good fundraiser for a great cause. Saturday, September 17th, the Jack Barker Golf Tournament will be held at Pinetop Lakes Golf and Country Club. We are looking for raffle prize donations, hole sponsors, and players. And also, I received an email from the Arizona Game and Fish. We will be hosting their commission meeting here in Town Hall in these chambers on September 9th at 8 in the morning. And they just wanted to extend an open invitation to council and anybody else that might be interested in coming and hearing what goes on with the Arizona Game and Fish Commission. Keith.
Yes, Madam Mayor and members of council. Let's see. We have coming up in September the Run to the Pines Cavalcade of Cars, and we'll have our annual employee barbecue out here in the yard. So we're looking forward to that. That'll be on September 23rd. And then we have the Fall Festival Parade on September 24th. The town will have a float. Details will be coming about that. Annie DeRosier is designing that, and I'm sure staff at Public Works will be helping to put it all together and looking for volunteers. So more information will come on that later. That's
Okay.
all I've got.
Oh, I think we have a meeting next week, the Wednesday, the Apache Navajo County.
Oh, yes. Yeah, the Apache Navajo County Mayors and Council Members Association meeting in Taylor on next Thursday, right? Or
Wednesday at 10.
Wednesday.
At noon.
At
So I'm
noon.
sure we'll arrange carpooling for the
Okay.
council.
Yeah.
Okay.
How about the league conference?
We will all be out of town that last week, unfortunately missing the August 31st event. But I'm sure it'll be wonderful. Anyway, okay. There being no further business, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.